Hi everyone, welcome back to my garage. Today's video, we are going to look at the coolant service on a Mahindra Max 26XL, 26XLT. Would be very similar for some of the other Max models, not the E-Maxes, and would be very similar on the 1525, 1526 Mahindra models. Now, you should change out your coolant every so many years. I believe the manual says every 200 hours. So today I'm going to show you where the drain points are. This is actually my first time doing it, so I thought I'd take you along. You're going to need approximately 5.2 liters or 5.5 quarts of coolant. Now, Mahindra doesn't really specify what coolant. We can see it looks like it's the green coolant, so your traditional coolant with a 50-50 mix. You're going to need not only the coolant, either in a pre-mixed form or in a concentrate with some deionized water to mix it to its proper ratio. And you're going to need a couple of catch cans or drain pans to catch the fluid itself. Now, you're not draining this from the radiator like you would do in a car. Mahindra recommends from a drain point, and I'm going to show you where that is right now. So around, I've already set up a light so that it's a little easier to see. I'm going to switch hands, and what they're suggesting is this tube right here runs up to the bottom of the radiator, but also runs up to the block. And I'm going to just try to get you a better picture. It's a little tough in here. Runs back to the block, and you can see right here is where it goes in the block. And there's a little clamp. It's a 6mm socket. You're going to need an extension to reach it. And what it looks like is you simply take the pressure off here, gently pull down your tube, and then we'll have some fluid that'll evacuate out of the block as well as the rest of the radiator. And then, of course, once it starts draining, you're going to want to come up here and pull your pressure relief valve. Now, just as a cautionary note, make sure that you've had your tractor sitting for several hours in case you had been using it, because you want the coolant temperature to cool down as well as the pressure to reduce and relieve itself. Now, I've taken our bucket arms and put them up in the air. Just be cautious when you do this, because if you do lose hydraulic pressure or you decide you want to service your hydraulic system, this will come down on you. So just be extra cautious when you're doing that. So I'm going to get set up and we'll bring you back in a moment. Okay, so I've tried to set up the camera. I'm going to be off camera here to try to give you the best view and just so you know what will happen. Honestly, the tractor's cold. I don't think there should be any pressure here. Looks fairly straightforward, but it is going to be a bit of a pain in the neck to get to that hose and then be able to drain it down. So what you're not seeing right down here is I have two drain pans, one to catch anything coming out of the block that's going to drain and fall to the ground area, and then one that is set up to take that hose, bring it over and put the hose down to let it drain. And I'm anticipating I'm going to have to hold that hose there while it drains. Now, recommendation, glove up, just because you're working with chemicals and you always want to be as safe as possible. I have two extensions, a longer and a shorter one, just to give me a better reach on the clamp. And rather than talking about it, let's loosen up this clamp, and then what I'll do is reach over and we will take a look. Now, I haven't opened the radiator cap yet, and I've done that on purpose because if you open it so that air flows right away, it's going to rush out of this tubing quicker, and I'd rather try to get it in place to drain before I reach that point. Now the tricky part is it's really tight in here to kind of reach over, so you'll have to find kind of the best working position for yourself, gently pulling the hose down. Now it's released. I'm not really seeing anything come out of the block. And what I'm gonna do is just lift the camera so you can see down a little bit better to how it's draining. And at this point, this is where we can take our radiator cap, because you can hear it's trying to, there we go now. It's trying to let some air through. And the minute I open the radiator cap, let's see if we can position it so you can see it a little better. Hopefully you can see that it is now running from the block, hence why you want the second. And I don't know if you can really see that. It's just a very awkward and tight position to be working back here. But the minute you allow air to flow, it then drains out of the block. A little more air, you could hear, was being suctioned in, and now it's draining again. So don't pull your drain plugs, because you might get fooled that you think it's done, and yet it's going to drain a little more. Now, Mahindra does recommend to drain this to use some sort of radiator flush out the system, drain it again, and then refill it. I'm not going to take you through those steps. The idea of this video was to just show you where the hose is, how to get to it, how difficult or easy it was. It's quite easy, other than it's in a really bad spot to get to. It's a little awkward with big chubby fingers and hands, but a little bit of patience can be done. I'm not going to bore you with filling it. That's very straightforward. 50-50 mix of ethylene glycol or antifreeze and deionized water, or just buy it pre-diluted and make your job easy, whichever you prefer. And it's just going to take a little bit of time to allow everything to drain, and drain it into clean pans, because most recycling facilities don't want it mixed with engine oil if you're using the same catch pan that you use for engine oil. So I like to keep 1 or 2 spare pans just for coolant on hand. All right, so there's one other thing to note. This is going to be snipped in just in case you're wondering why the video kind of moved. I almost forgot to mention, you have your reservoir bottle here. Now, the volume I gave you earlier at 5.2 liters or 5.5 quarts includes the amount that you need to fill into your reservoir bottle. You don't want to forget to change this. Now, to change this, it looks like the easiest way, unless you have some sort of a small suction device or transfer pump that you could use, is to remove, there's 2 bolts, they're 10mm bolts that are holding that look like they're holding the bottle in place, just off to the back side here. So I'm going to remove those 2 bolts, and then that way we can grab the tank and drain it. You may need a flathead screwdriver to pop this cap off. I wouldn't do it ahead of time, just in case when the last bolt comes out, if your fingers slip and it drops, that way that will just keep it from spilling. And that way it's nice and easy. I just thought I would bring this little part of the video as a reminder to change that. And then you can put it back in place and refill it a little bit. Then also remember, run, I believe Mahindra says, run it for like 5-10 minutes. I'm going to say, take your tractor, drive it around your property a bit, run it, get the air out of the system, and just keep an eye on that, because you may need to top it up depending how much air gets into the system and needs to be taken out. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope that it's given you some insight. Very straightforward job, easy to do. You can do it in your garage. Very little time to take. This is probably between emptying, filling, setup, and cleanup, probably about an hour. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave any comments. Always check your owner's manual for any of this service. Please click the like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. So thank you if you've done that. And if you hit the little bell below, you'll be notified of new videos, as I have several of these maintenance videos I'm going to post for all of us Mahindra owners. Thanks, guys. Take care.